Okay. So hello everyone. My name is Jenna. I work at Leftt. It's a travel company based out of Vancouver and Bangladesh. So our business is primarily around meta search for accommodation, and we operate a number of domains, rentbyowner.com, as well as have native mobile apps that kind of fit in that category. That's enough about me. I'll pass it off to my panelists to introduce themselves.
Hello, my name is Amitabh Mishra, and I'm founder of GOFRO, a three-way marketplace in leisure travel industry. Prior to this, I was founding CTO of Snapdeal, and before that, I've spent over a decade in Silicon Valley building large-scale technologies.
Hi everyone. I'm Kushal Agrawal. I'm a travel enthusiast turned entrepreneur. So I'm the co-founder of XOXODay.com. So it's a travel tech startup which is into booking of in-destination experiences and activities. It's been 5 years and have some learnings to share and hope it will be useful for everyone.
Hi everyone, my name is Abhijit Mishra. I'm the country manager for KAYAK, which is one of the world's leading travel search engines. Prior to this, I used to work with multiple consumer tech and app companies like Line Messenger and Angry Birds, and used to manage marketing and business development for them. Thank you.
Okay, so I just want to start off this panel by kind of giving some general stats about the industry in India here. So tourism is 7.5% of the GDP. Direct contribution to tourism, the travel industry, the GDP is expected to grow 7.2% year over year to 2025. And there's also a lot of growth happening. 44% of Indian travelers increased their spend in the travel industry over the year 2016. So we're really curious to kind of see what's coming up next. So I want to break this down in terms of travel and look at it from the customer journey perspective. So when you're planning travel, there's a number of stages that you're going to go through kind of to make the decision. So we're starting initially with the dreaming, imagining stage. The person moves into the planning stage where they're trying to make a decision. Then there's the booking conversion, followed by the actual experience of traveling itself, being in the place. And then after that, kind of post-travel reflection and an opportunity to drive repeat customers. So just starting to look at the dreaming planning stage, I'm just going to address the panelists here. And if you guys want to talk about maybe acquisition strategies and how you're providing for customers when they're imagining where they want to be and creating plans for their travel.
So maybe I can start. We realize in leisure travel, all these stages are very important. And at some level, they are also interconnected. So we built a platform, a three-way marketplace, which has all these stages as well as some critical elements of how travel is done today. So today, people plan, but they then figure out that they have to actually book the tickets, and that's a very long drawn journey. So they just offload it to travel agents who do all three stages of the travel. So they help plan the travel, then they find great rates and supply. This is especially true in international destinations. And then process the payments, and after booking service, which is in destination service. For us, everything came together on the platform. The first stage that Jenna mentioned was how do we acquire and help customers discover things. Ours is a three-way marketplace where the supply of all the elements of travel and advisory is there on the platform. So the customers come to our platform and they start with a holiday plan, possibly that meets their requirement. Then there's an advisor attached on the platform physically who may be sitting 1,000 miles from the traveler, but can on the platform co-create the itinerary of life supply on our platform. So the traveler is looking at a holiday plan, and if he wants to add a city or increase the number of days, They can do it themselves, or they can check with the advisor, and the advisor will make the changes live on their itinerary, and they can do it on their mobile app. So for us, all of it is integrated.
So just to add to Amitabh, see what happens is when you travel, I primarily see three aspects to it, what Amitabh mentioned. One is how to travel. So one city to other, how do you travel? So it can be across the globe. So you have trains, buses, you have flights, etc., which you have various ways how you can book it. The second part is where to stay. So when you have uh, uh, reached a particular city, a particular destination, where to stay is something which is a question mark when you travel. And whatever your budgets are, your budget is 500 rupees or your budget is a lakh rupees, you have options available. So you have PGs if you have low budget, you have OYO rooms if you have mediocre type of budget. If you have more money, then you can probably stay in a Taj hotel, etc. So the stay part is the second element. The third part is uh, what to do when you reach a particular city. So exploring authentic things of a particular city is the third thing which has to be planned when you make a travel planning. So if you see, the number one and number two is quite democratized at the moment. So you have various portals from where you can book train, flights, and buses. You can book a hotel, but when you talk about the in-destination activities and experiences, you want to explore that particular city. That's where something where the industry is now focusing on how we can kind of organize this long tail. And that is where our startup XOXODay is trying to kind of organize this market and trying to bring various flavors of a particular city so that the tourists can come and they can enjoy the local flavors of a particular city by itself.
Yeah, so just to add to what Amitabh and Kushal said, so if you look at the travel, life cycle, the first phase, which is, just dreaming or planning your travel, is actually the most beautiful and the most cumbersome phase, right? Beautiful, why? Because we want to travel all the time, everywhere. So, I'm just talking about leisure out here. And cumbersome, why? Because, it's hard, right? I mean, right from planning, okay, where do I go? This is my budget, and how do I plan my travel? Or maybe, getting things like visa, etc. So that's the phase where we spend the most time actually, as a traveler. And there are companies which are doing, a lot of things in that space. So within Kayak, we help people not only plan, but manage their travel as well. So plan, we have features like Explore, which help you, figure out, okay, I have a holiday coming in August and I have a certain budget, so what all places globally I can go in this budget, so it kind of helps you narrow down, the places that you can visit. There are tools like price forecast, price alerts, which kind of help you figure out, okay, should I book now? Should I book later? Is the price going to go up? Is it going to go down? All those questions which we have typically in our planning or the exploring phase. So yeah, so that's the phase. I think it's the most critical phase, the planning phase itself. Yeah, so that's, yeah.
Yeah, I think just to add to that, I think it's really interesting to think about kind of the dreaming or the imagination part that goes into it. So part of it, the enjoyment you get out of travel is like the anticipation, and it's important to provide that for the customer as well as, when you're in your office at like Friday, 4 o'clock, and you're thinking about sitting on a beach, you need to be there to be the answer to like that question. Anyways, moving on to booking. So this is the part we probably all like the most because it pays our bills. But how are you addressing booking on your own platforms, and what trends are you seeing there?
So just taking a step back, how booking was done in leisure travel was, you go and figure out the flight and everything else in the planning stage, and then you one by one go and book each of them in different sites. And to get great prices for each of those items, whether it's flight or hotel or local transfers or activities, you visit a whole bunch of sites, and it's a very cumbersome process. And let's say there's a non-availability, or there's a spike in price on the dates that you had earlier planned, your entire plan goes for a toss. And so we knew that booking is very tightly linked to the plan itself, and a lot of times during the booking phase, you have to go back and replan the whole activity. In our case, everything is integrated. So whenever you're planning on life supply, and that life supply is with a click of a button buyable. So when you're booking and you don't see great prices, then you can change whatever you want to change, and you can see incremental change to the cost or your travel plan. The other interesting thing, and imagine these kind of technologies were just not there 1 year back. You could have technologies and experiences like just booking one item at a time, but having a whole holiday plan and changing one item at a time and still being able to book the rest quickly is something that is very innovative, and more complex experiences are coming on mobile app now. We have done it. The second thing is a lot of data analytics behind the scenes. So once you have a plan, you might want to know if you were to reverse your plan, you were going to city 1 for 3 days and city 2 for 4 days, and if you were to reverse the plan, whether it become cheaper. Now imagine doing that by yourself. In our case, such kind of recommendations based on analytics from supply and the kind of holiday you are planning to do automatically pop for you. So making changes at the booking phase becomes very, very easy. And finally, we have an integrated advisor like I described. So if you're in a conversation and taking the service of an advisor, the advisor could suggest, sir, you shift your plan by 2 days and your thing will come down by 20%. So on our platform, everything is integrated and we see it very holistically. Booking is not separate from planning, and they are intertwined together.
So very interesting points. So I somehow feel when you travel to a particular city, I don't know if you might have faced language is very tricky to kind of handle, because people say that there are English speaking people all across the world, but I've traveled more than 35 countries till date, and I've only encountered UK as the English speaking nation. So whenever you go to a particular city, language becomes a big barrier in kind of communicating what you want, and very difficult to kind of get what exactly you want to do. So you don't have a consolidated platform from where you can grasp that information and then book it. So information is available everywhere. So you go to TripAdvisor, you go to web, you go to Google, you will find various information of a particular city, but when you want to actually go for that particular experience, or when you want to go for that particular activity, if you want to communicate that thing to say a local person, it's really hard. So so this is something where I think the technology, the mobile apps, and the web interfaces has to kind of provide that assistance to the tourists whenever they are going to some other country or some other place. I mean, it happens to us in India as well. I mean, India has 25, 26 states, 30 states, I guess. And you go to any state and you go to South, I mean, a Punjabi, if he goes to, let's say, Chennai, he won't be able to communicate what he wants. And then he's not able to book the experiences or the information which he has collected from the web. So I somehow feel that the booking, the information is available everywhere. The meaningful information has to be captured in form of actionable things, and the booking mechanism has to be developed in those information parts. And the mobile apps and the technology advancements has to mature and find out a way how this language barrier and the booking barrier can be overcome.
Right. So booking, as we know, is pretty much the holy grail for all the online travel companies, right? This is where the rubber meets the road, right? Booking. How do you make it simplified? How do you make it, how do you ensure the booking happens, right? So there are a couple of things, if you see in a market. So in a market like ours, which I believe is a mature market in online travel. Online travel has been here for like 5-6 years. Been using all the OTAs for a long while now. It's evolved and it's a matured market. So let's not mistake that it's a new market. So in an evolved or a mature market, you have more and more options, right? Which means more confusion for the user, right? You have like 10 different OTAs out here. Somebody's giving some cashback. Somebody has a awesome Thursday offer, you know. So that's a lot of things which is going on in our market. So that's where you want, services like a meta search, which kind of helps you in one single site or page, kind of shows you all the available options, and then it's up to the user to, book from whichever he wants to, wherever he sees more value, be it price, be it cashback, be it a good experience, whatever it is that he's looking for. The other part, which I think we have done very well in India, and not necessarily multiple companies are doing that, is giving options to users. So, for example, options where you do not need to pay the hotel right now. You can pay them when you are actually there. One of the companies like Booking.com, you don't need to pay it right now. You can just pay later, or you can do partial payment. Companies like Make My Trip have launched that. So, giving more and more options in the booking phase so that the user converts is something which I think is really innovatively done in India. We don't see these options in the other markets. Maybe because it's not needed there, but these are things that we've seen in India, very unique to India, and some countries are actually replicating this. So yeah, so I think bookings is as I said, how do you convert that user? That's the holy grail, right? So you do how many things you do, how you do smartly is what is important for the booking stage.
Yeah, so it sounds like personalization, localization, very important factors when we're talking about travel. So coming to kind of the next section, the experience itself, so what you're having when you're at your destination, and kind of the word mobile, I think, is synonymous with travel honestly, right? So with kind of the time we have left, maybe we want to talk about that and kind of the post-trip experience together and how that's being addressed.
Sure. I think. Hello. So, mobile apps play the biggest role and the biggest differentiator at this stage, because when the person is traveling, and especially if he's traveling abroad, the only thing that they have in their hand is the mobile phone. They're away from the desktop. They are away from the person they may have interacted when they were planning and booking their holiday, and they're entirely left by own. So this stage of travel, mobile plays a very, very big part. And think about the problems that people have and the opportunity there is. In terms of opportunity, our statistics as well as the industry statistics say that people spend far more in destination than they do while planning and booking. So opportunity is tremendous, and while they are going through their experiences, they come up with ideas and thoughts, and they want bookings done. But not all the supply is available readily, and if it is available, then it's not best price. But they have their mobile phone to go and check things out. In our case, we have a companion app, and just to solve this problem, where the companion app is a companion for the traveler, and they have their itinerary with them, and any change that they want, they can just chat live with us 24/7 and make changes to their plans, whether they're additions, modifications, or what have you. Also, because we have the entire itinerary of the customer, we run our analytics engines and are able to suggest people runtime that, hey, your third day is at leisure, and there's an event going on in this city, would you like to have it? And live, we can actually make the booking, and your itinerary would change. And the third thing is that a lot of times the customers are not even aware what are some of the challenges that may be there in the city they are visiting. So for example, it's very common for us to know, to come to know that customers made a plan without knowing that it's going to be raining, or the temperatures are going to be, below zero in the destination that they are going, and we have all this analytics and intelligence built into the platform. The only way we can tell the customer is through the mobile app. So we run all these analytics and are able to tell before their travel plan begins that, are you sure you're carrying warm clothes? Or are you sure you have, rain equipment to handle those things? Or you might want to check out these things. The only way you can do it is you have mobile in your hand and an app which is basically suitable for these things. And that's what we do.
Hello. So, I recently visited one of the city. It was Yogyakarta in Indonesia, in Java Islands. Uh, so I read a lot about that particular city, and there was a very interesting experience which I read about. It was cave diving. So they have a vertical cave, and it was a dormant crater basically, but it was a vertical cave from where you can kind of go inside the cave, and there's a forest inside it, and then you have to then there is a horizontal cave when you go inside, and when you trek for almost 3-4 kilometers, there's a very beautiful opening where from where a river was flowing, and there was active volcanoes which was coming up from, in that particular thing. So it's the place's name is Yogyakarta, it's Jamblong Cave. So the information of this particular experience was available in the web, and it was highly rated and other stuff. But I didn't had any way to book it. One place I figured out in some area where from where I can I can book that costed around 15,000 rupees in Indian rupees, 300 approximately $250. So I thought, I don't think there are a lot of elements which is involved in execution of this particular experience. So I thought, let me go to this particular site, and, go directly to that particular area, and let me try if I can book that experience then and there, and can go. You won't realize I did that experience in 1800. That is around $30, and it was a really nice experience. Awesome coach and trainers, and they said we are kind of selling this particular experience in the same price, but I don't know how you have kind of got that particular price. So if you see this particular last mile activity and experiences, it has various variables attached to it. And there are so many experiences which you can do in a city. So if you talk about Bangalore, we ourselves have around 1,000 experiences, and there are a couple of other, so we have a lot of experiences. And, and this will keep growing. So it's a long tail of the entire travel industry, and it needs a sophisticated way to kind of organize this particular thing. And mobile apps, geotag mobile apps, or geotag stuffs will solve the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think mobile clearly is, driving, experiences, volumes for all of us. Just think about it. I mean, sitting here, you heard the story what Kushal is saying, and then suddenly you search for Java on your mobile, right? On an app, you just open and, okay, what's Java, what's Jakarta, let me search that. So mobile obviously is enabling, and empowering a lot of searches for all of us. Again, coming back to the holy grail lies at how do we make, so seamless that the bookings, kind of happen instantly there itself, and how it's very simple. Especially in travel, what we face is, especially for big ticket items like long haul flights or hotels, expensive hotels, consumers are not necessarily very comfortable paying on mobile. But that's changing now, and post demonetization, we have started seeing that people are actually booking more on mobile rather than just searching on mobile and exploring on mobile. The other thing that we think, as Amitabh mentioned, that while you're traveling, actually mobile is the only companion you have, not necessarily you're opening your desktop or laptop at that time, right? So that's where we have been doing some activities. So we believe that we want to simplify all phases of travel. So when you're actually on your travel itself, so one of the biggest problems that we face is that I book my hotel from somewhere, I book my flights for somewhere, I book my car rental from somewhere, and then I need to print out all those vouchers or collect them on my email in one place. So we kind of sync with your email app, and then we just put it in a very nice simple format so that it's there in one single place. So you don't need to go searching for your PNR for flight when you're at the airport gate, or you don't need to remember your hotel booking, etc. So it's kind of there. So it helps ease your travel. It kind of simplifies your travel. So mobile for sure is going to empower not only in the exploring phase, which typically it does when you're searching for stuff, but for booking, plus when you're on travel, because that's where the real impact of mobile happens.
Great, so great insights there, guys. Looks like we're just at the end of the time, so I was wondering if there was any audience questions we could take at this point. Again, looks like you guys did an excellent job, like the last crowd, of explaining everything. So thank you very much for all of your insights.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'd like to invite Mangalam from GMASA to please present the speakers with mementos. Thank you, Jenna. Thank you, Kushal, Amitabh, and Abhijit. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a conversation on trends in the travel app industry this year. I can see the crowd is more towards the back of the room. I know that coffee tea is being served outside, so I hope you've grabbed a cup. We are not going to have an official tea break in the interest of time, and we're going to have a rolling tea. You know, I'll let you grab your tea or coffee and bring it back into the room. Thank you, Mangalam. Could you please come together for a picture? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please put your hands together once again for that amazing panel that talked about trends in the travel app business. Jenna, Amitabh, Abhijit.